Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Debra Eckerling, goal strategist. What am I? Goal strategist, book proposal specialist, and author of books on goals, 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting, and your goal guide. You can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So every week, I bring in some of my people to have a conversation that you all get to watch and also interact if you want. You might be watching this as GoalChat Live. You might be watching the replay or listening to us as GoalChat on the Marketing Podcast Network. No matter how you found us, we are so glad you're here. And okay, so this one's a little bit out of the box, but those who know me know I also do a podcast called Taste Buds with Deb. And all of today's guests have been guests on Taste Buds with Deb. So why wouldn't I bring him in for a GoalChat conversation? Actually, Noah Bleich from the TeaBook, you have been on before. You are a returning recurring guest, which I love. And then Matthew Jonas, who is the founder of Good Karma Cacao. We are friends through my friend Katie Chin, who has also been on the show, but he's like so pro cacao. I'm like, how do I do a beverage conversation and not include Matthew? And then we've got Hilary Sheinbaum, who I'm my most recent friend, who actually inspired the conversation. So she is the founder of Going Dry, and her love of beverages is so unparalleled. So this is, unless it's on purpose, my guests don't know each other, and that is the case today. And we're going to talk about the business of beverages, because why have a live show if you can't say, oh, that's a great idea, let's do that. I would love, though, for you all to introduce yourselves, because basically all people know is that you're awesome and you love, I was going to say love to drink, which is accurate, but love beverages probably sounds a lot nicer. So, Noah, let's start with you. Who are you and what the heck is the TeaBook?
So I'm Noah. I am a tea lover, and I had this idea. I used to love cooking, so I'd have Shabbat meals, and at the end of every meal, you ask who wants tea, and everyone says, "Oh, what kind do you have?" And I had 40 boxes of tea. I was like, "How do I get it to my guests?" So I had this idea: what if you put it in a book like this to store your tea? I got a patent on the book, and then you just put your tea in and make fun, collectible tea of people who have added positivity to the world. And I told this idea to my mom. I forgot about it. Jewish moms don't forget. And then about a year before she passed away from cancer, she made a prototype, put an old binder, aluminum foil, stickers and stuff, mailed it to me and said, always follow your dreams. And so she's the inspiration for the company. And I think you, like in goals, you need something to inspire you, because otherwise you're going to get bored.
I have a feeling boredom is not something that you do.
I try to avoid it, yes, unless it's a board game, in which case I'm down.
But it is a way that you took, that you got this inspiration that also is your mom's legacy partly.
Exactly. And I always tell people, when being an entrepreneur, there's really two types of products in the world. There's things that solve problems and things that entertain. And so the TeaBook, it solves a problem, which is getting it to your guests, and the teas entertain. So we hit both of those categories.
And you have a lot of fun doing it, which we will get more into shortly. But let's meet our other guests. Matthew.
Hey,
it's
hi.
been days.
It's been days. I know it has been days, literally. I'm Matthew Jonas. I am the founder of Good Karma Cacao with my co-founder Dave Forster. And in my spare time, I'm an executive transition coach. I'm a musician and a songwriter, and I have a few other. I might run a catering company also. So in
Did
these
you
days,
mention the band?
Yeah, well, I said musician. Yeah, band. Never Too Late. NeverTooLateBand.com. You can check us out there. And I have songs on Spotify and Apple Music too, under my name, Matthew G. Jonas. So, okay. But I'm here to talk about, the topic is beverages. And while I did used to love to drink, by the way, but then I had to stop that because I loved it a little too much. So I have many, many, many dry Januaries in my logbook. But what I really love is when my wife and I were working on having babies 18 years ago, almost, we had to do a cleanse, and part of the cleanse was no coffee. Right now, I liked coffee. I loved coffee, but coffee was good. But when I stopped drinking coffee, I had this headache for 3 days. like really bad headache, like an ice pick in the back of your neck kind of headache. And I said, I never want to have anything have that hold on me ever. So I gave up coffee after I detoxed for those 3 days. And I kind of went on this journey of, well, how do I replace this morning ritual? And I tried many, many, many things. I mint tea, green tea, matcha, decaf, went through all of these things. And I just never was really happy. I even actually made my own tea, Noah, with like a brain tea with all kinds of, brain feeding herbs. Drank that for a long time. But then I discovered cacao. And I read about it and I was like, what is this? And I tried to get it. I bought some and all the products that I bought, I didn't like. It wasn't good. It was like over sugared and over flavored. And they tried to make it into like pumpkin spice or whatever. And I just wanted the real thing. So I started making my own. And my business partner, who was a coaching client of mine, he's a food scientist. I said, hey, convince me not to do this business. And he said, you're talking to the wrong guy. He said, but I'll only help you if you let me make chocolate bars. So now Good Karma is both a cacao company, 100% drinking cacao, as well as we make chocolate bars like these that are single bean to bar, single origin bars, where we really look to preserve the flavor of the bean and the terroir of where it comes from. Because most of the chocolate people consume is mostly sugar and some milk, and it doesn't really taste like chocolate, what chocolate should taste like. So our dark bars are meant to, each one of them is different, and if you try them, you'll swear there's other things in there, but there's really nothing in there but organic beans, a little bit of organic cane sugar, and love. That's it.
And I love how both each, you and Noah, created products because you needed a solution. Is that what happened with you, Hilary?
Yeah, well, kind of.
Kind of.
So my name is Hilary Sheinbaum. I am a journalist. I'm an author of 2 books in the sober curious realm, and I am also the founder of goingdry.co. And my story is a little bit unorthodox. I actually used to write about alcohol, and I was a red carpet entertainment reporter. So I was going to parties almost every night. Even if I wasn't drinking every night, I was out and about for work in both of those categories. And on New Year's Eve, 2016, going into 2017, I made a really silly bet with a friend about who could do a dry January. And I won our bet and he lost. I went the entire month without drinking, and it really changed my perspective about how alcohol was affecting me physically, mentally, maybe even emotionally. I don't know. But I just had a completely 180 in terms of how much I was sleeping and, my mood and stuff like that. So I actually just finished my 10th dry January, and I've certainly done a number of thank you. A number of alcohol-free months in between throughout those 10 years. But from that came 2 books, The Dry Challenge and Going Dry, a workbook. And also I founded a platform that throws events in many different cities, most often New York, that are focused on bringing people together without alcohol. And I also collaborate with a lot of bars and restaurants and hotels such as the Four Seasons Jackson Hole, Four Seasons Santa Fe, and Le Meridien in Salt Lake City to bring non-alcoholic beverages to their menus and make them more inclusive for non-drinkers or people who are just, taking a night off or want to try something without alcohol. So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Awesome. And I'm one of those people that every now and then I will have a drink. Every now and then. Is that a puppy running into the
Yeah, that's a puppy. Yeah, that was a puppy.
I do love my coffee, but I have tasted the cacao. I have tasted the tea. I feel like because food really is a universal topic of conversation, And beverages is like, right, it doesn't quite reach that level of food, but it is something everybody has an opinion on. Have you found that as well?
Well, I think one of the interesting talking about a goal, your first goal every day is wake up, right?
Yes,
If you
it
don't
is.
do that goal, what the goal will mean nothing, right? Your second goal is pee, right? You got to go to the bathroom. That's the second thing you do, and that's your beverages, right? So we don't really think about it, but the first thing we do as our goal is get rid of beverages, then spend the rest of the day putting those beverages back, only to get rid of them right before you go to sleep.
Thank you for the graphic tie-in to the GoalChat conversation.
Yep.
I expect nothing less from you. Thank you, Noah.
Well, I have to say that, I do these leadership weekends for men, and we start pretty early in the morning sometimes. And there's some guys who are, like asleep. They're awake, but they're not awake yet because they haven't had their coffee. Right. So here's the question. So the question is, who are you without your coffee? Like, are you not you? Are you like some lesser version of yourself? Like you need this other thing to kind of make you, so it's really an interesting thing that we do come, whether it's alcohol or anything else, we become dependent on certain substances, whatever, to kind of make us into a version of ourselves that maybe we like better. So now, of course, cacao doesn't do that, but if it did do it, it would do it in a much better way for you because it's packed with antioxidants and flavonoids and stuff like that. But it's true.
So I'm going to tie this into an actual question because
You don't run ramblings? We could just ramble.
oh no, I love the ramblings, but what do you think it is? What is it about beverages that make it like the second most universal topic to food? Is it because it's the natural thing, or is there some information beyond that?
I think we all need to hydrate. So
Oh, you're just gonna get healthy on us. Okay, I should have expected that.
I think about what are we? We're like what 70-80% water.
yeah,
Right? We are basically a beverage in a flesh bag. And so
In a sack, a beverage in a sack.
You can go for like a week or two without food, but you can only go about a day or two without water before you start.
Have you ever seen the show Naked and Afraid?
Yeah,
Naked and Afraid. One time I was in Vegas and I got sick and I was like locked in my hotel room. It was a marathon. I just watched this show, and it basically what they do is they drop these people in these isolated places where they have to survive with nothing. And the secret I learned was exactly what Noah said. It's like you can go a long time without food, but if you do not have clean water, you're done. Like you are done. The water is and that's the basis of every beverage. It's got some water in it, and then it's hot. But water gets boring for people. So how do you flavor it? How do you give it something else that makes it yummy and fun and delicious and maybe an adventure?
And I think, like I said, because it's so essential. It's like breathing. We don't really think about breathing or blinking, or because the essentialness exists. We just do it without thinking about it. And for some people, that's like a danger. Like for instance, like sugar sodas. People don't realize that one little drink you had was 160 calories, right? That's basically 10 to 15% of your entire calories for the day. And because it's a liquid, we don't really think about it calorically, and so we consume more without really a greater understanding of it.
totally.
Okay, I want to go back to Hilary because you managed to, well, all of you, but you managed to make beverage a topic of conversation. So beyond the need, which we all admit, yes, we all need to drink things so we do not fall over. But what is it about beverages that make people excited and enthusiastic?
Well, I think that from the perspective of like alcohol and our culture surrounding it, people tend to, go to a bar, they bond over it. They have kind of this like almost like ceremonial exchange with like other people, and like that's how people connect. And so what I do, and also, what I think is really interesting and important, is that it's the same thing over, whether it's a non-alcoholic beverage or like a cocktail, or going for coffee or going for tea or that sort of thing. I think that a lot of beverages have kind of their own culture around them. And so it really it's not just like social experience, but it's almost like part of, their greater lifestyle. And, it's part of a lot of religious ceremonies and things like that too. So I think that, yeah, there's always kind of like room to bond and kind of like, in a sense, I guess almost like network with other people when, beverages are involved.
See, that was the kind of enthusiastic, not do or die kind of. But we can all agree and admit it is important for survival, but there is that social aspect. And I think Noah was talking about what inspired his is he was always offering tea, and it was like a mess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I think there's also something really cool and magical about beverage. Like if you take a chicken, you put it on a plate, it just sits there. But if you take a drink and you put it in your glass, if you have different colors, it'll have motion. You pick it up, it starts to move and jiggle. No, you don't get that with your food. It's kind of like there and it's pretty and then you eat it. Beverage is like that. It's also rare that, you pass around like a drink. Oh, here, have some. You don't pass it. You rarely take your plate and, pass and have some. Some people do. So there's a communal social element. There's the fun magic of it. There's the color changing things, for mixed drinks. You can light it on fire. You can mix it and then look, it turns different colors. You can put sparkles in it. Food just doesn't have that range and magic, in my opinion.
Okay. Another good answer. Matthew, do you have something to add to that?
Well, I think Noah said something interesting before about, people don't think about it. And I think that's often true. In fact, I would argue most people go through life not thinking about lots of things that they should be thinking about, right?
That's like a different GoalChat, but yes.
We get into, but we get into automatic mode. We get into just like one, rinse, wash, repeat, just every day is the same day. So I think what with beverages, there's this opportunity to be more thoughtful and mindful and choiceful about what you want to put in and why am I choosing this over that and what do I want to have, and whether, whatever your goals are. If your goals are to live a healthy lifestyle, you may make different choices, right? If your goals are, something else, you'll just want to indulge, you'll make different choices. So I think, it's one of the opportunities with beverages, just like with food, just like with how we use all our time is, are we thinking about it? Are we in choice about it? Or are we just doing the automatic thing that we're just habitually, have always done? And, whether it is matching up with what we really want out of life or out of our day or out of just the present moment.
So do you feel like you chose beverages or beverages chose you?
That's a good one. Well, I mean, as I briefly shared, I have an interesting relationship with beverages as a whole. So I have not chosen certain beverages, and I would say I have chosen other beverages very purposefully. Cacao being one of them, and sometimes water being another one of them. Just like to replace things that didn't fit my lifestyle anymore. I'd say it that way.
Okay, and Hilary is.
And they're delicious too, and they're really good.
What about you, Hilary?
I was gonna say I agree. I think it kind of found me. Maybe I don't know. I mean, my bet, I always say it was like the silliest bet I've ever made. And this just kind of snowballed. So here I am. But I think that yeah, it's so interesting to see how like the non-alcoholic industry has really evolved in the past couple of years. When I started doing dry Januaries, there were maybe like a few very niche brands on the market, and now there's a new brand every day and a new SKU. I think that there are definitely brands who do it well. There's like a brand called Free Spirits. They make non-alcoholic like tequilas and bourbons and even canned cocktails like margaritas. But then there are also those who have come and gone. And so it's a really interesting category. And I think like there will be some that have, sticking power, but I think that everybody should at least try it. Even if you're not doing like a full, dry month, and see, if it suits you.
Okay.
Well,
I
sometimes
think. I was just going to say that this is something that you talked about when I interviewed you, is you do not need to go all dry. You do not need, and that actually really does fall in with goals, because people think if they fall off the wagon, pun intended, with their goals, they have to wait and start the next month or the next year. But
Totally.
It's really working within your lifestyle, right?
Absolutely. I think that doing a dry January is really just about gaining perspective and seeing what works for you. And, if drinking less, it has, benefits, which I think 99% of the time it does. But yeah, if you're not limited to just a dry January, you can do a sober October. You can start in the middle of the month. You can start in the middle of the week. Like if you, are really going strong and you have, a night out, that's okay. Start over the next day. It's not about being perfect. It's really just about, seeing what works.
Noah, you were going to jump in?
Yeah, the time saying Matthew was saying, and so my degree is in biology and environmental science, and I always bring in the science because it's very important to me. Also because we also have a scientist series. When we go to these events, and I always ruin people's happiness, is they'll come to me like, well, chamomile is great, helps me sleep. There's nothing in chamomile that will help you sleep. If I ruined everyone's like happiness, I apologize. And what Matthew was saying is it ties to the ceremony. You relax, you sit down, put on the hot water, you're waiting for it to boil, and then you're holding this hot thing in your hand and it's warm, and then you sip this hot beverage. That warmth and that ceremony and that time of relaxation, that's what makes you sleepy. And when I was younger, they used to be like, drink hot milk. That would help you sleep. Right. And so that's where it's the ceremony, the relations to it, that make you sleepy. There are teas that do have sleepy agents. Chamomile is not one of them.
It's very interesting.
Well, that's kind of funny too. That well, first of all, chocolate, before it was what we now think of as chocolate, and this is, 3,000 years ago, it was only a beverage. Right? It was only a beverage. The Europeans invented actual chocolate, what we eat today. And that was fairly recently. That was like 150 years ago. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. So the Mesoamericans, they drank it for ceremonies. They drank it for everything. And actually in some cultures, only the wealthiest people had it. Theobroma cacao, which is the actual official name of the plant, it translates to food of the gods. And so it was used for marriages, it was used for religious ceremonies, it was used, yes, it might have also been used for some sacrifices. It was used in all of these different ways as a beverage, and then it became a candy bar. And now I'm, passionate about returning back to some of the roots. But to Noah's point, people always ask me, they're like, oh, is it true you can do these ceremonies and have hallucinogenic experiences? And I'm like, well, there's nothing in cacao that will give you a hallucinogenic experience, but through a ceremony, and it's really more of emotional opening than psychedelic or whatever. But I mean, you can obviously put, mix some mushrooms in there or do something like that. But for this, it's more of the intention of why you're consuming it and focusing that intention on maybe something that you need or something that you want. And so there's ways to do those kinds of ceremonies and have a richer experience. Although I like people to do little easy ones they can do in the morning, but then it's fun to sit down and do a really long one for a special occasion or a special moment.
They do have cacao sound baths in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And in other places. And I had a guest a few weeks ago who I met when she was in LA doing a cacao sound bath. So yes, we've got everything here. But I love that it is the ritual, and it could also be the social ritual, which you all mentioned before, whether it's by yourself or with people or part of your social makeup to go out with people. Now, if you are watching live or the replay and you want to say, are you team water? Are you team coffee? Are you team cacao? Are you team tea? Are you team dry or you drink everything. Feel free to share. I do want to give a shout out and thanks to Meryl Cass, who not only is here, but he invited a bunch of people to watch us live. So thank you, Meryl. Glad you could join. And hello to Mary Kay. And who else is here? Coach Carrie. There's one other person from the Meryl world who joined us. So as soon as I find her, I will say and give her a shout out as well. Oh, Lisa. Okay, I feel better now that I caught all the people watching live. So please share in the comments if you're live or the replay which team beverage you are on. The other thing that I want to, I'm sure there's a food pun. Help me, Noah.
Okay.
Noah will get it. He will come up with it for sure.
Let's take a great big swig of how you all got it. No, that doesn't work. Okay, we'll save that for later. But all of you,
tell us how your idea brewed. How you brewed your idea.
Okay, well, actually, that's great, but that wasn't the question I wanted to ask, but I'm going to use it anyway. You build businesses from your passion. So what recommendations do you have for others who are trying to brew a side hustle or a new business? Thank you. How do you brew a new business? Okay, don't all at once. Okay, yes, Hilary, please. How do you brew a new business?
I think it's really important to be like specific with your vision, but like also flexible with what ends up happening later. I will say that like when I was like pitching myself to a lot of places, and I was even like considering having, someone come and help me in terms of like media and stuff. I had a friend and like several publicists say to me, like, there is no such thing as like sober curiosity. It's very black and white. Like, you drink or you don't. And this was years ago, right? This was like when my first book came out in 2020. And I think that now, like everybody, understands that people are drinking less, and sober curiosity is like a very like mainstream theme for, hundreds, millions of people. So I think that just being like very like focused on like what your messaging is, and if somebody's telling you like they're not 100% sure or accurate, like what like you're trying to portray, I think it's just really important to understand that you might be like the first in the category or that sort of thing. So I think it's important to like stick with it, but also, for me personally, like I didn't plan on doing dry January for the last 10 years. I thought I was going to be done with like, just try it and, do it and be done with it. So I think it's important to also be flexible with your long-term plans as well.
Okay. I like that. Well, and the D and the Deb method is determine your mission. So I am all about you can't get what you want unless you know what that is. But when you know who you are, that also opens you up to going different routes. So it is not just about you do the thing and you do the specific thing. It's this is your message for the world. How are you going to put it out there?
I think the key is the word business. A business makes something, sells it to make profit. If you make something that you're passionate about and no one buys it, it's not a business. It's a passion project. And you can do both. There's not a right or a wrong. It's just, I tell you, if you're going to do it, if you want a business is your goal, you have to make sure there's a demand. You have to make sure it'll be profitable, and then go through the steps of getting the money, whatever steps you need to then get it to the next tier. And that's the difference. Like sometimes I feel like it's a hobby for me. Sometimes I feel like it's a business.
Well, but you've got like your business is he, but you've got like 3 sub things within it. You've got the puns and the art, right?
Yeah, and they're all combined. Like there's no that's your message, right, for your business. But the product. But if no one bought my product, I wouldn't have a business. So the key is like people always say like follow your passions, and a lot of entrepreneurs are like, don't follow your passions. Be passionate, but choose something that makes business sense. Unless your goal is to create a hobby or just a side project that it doesn't matter, then you can go with just your passion.
Okay.
In my opinion.
I like that.
In my experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's true. You said earlier, Deb, that both Noah and my projects came out of a need that we had, right? And so it's great that
Well,
you
all
might
three
have
of
a
you
need.
actually,
Yeah,
right?
true. Right. Well, that was a bet, but she needed to, she didn't want to welch on the bet, which is good. So I appreciate that.
Well, starting any
But
business is a bet. You never know the outcome.
it's true. It's true. So, but I guess my point is that sometimes I have needs that nobody else has, right? Like it might just be my need. So you do have to sort of market test if other people are interested. And one of the things that's, so only wanted to do cacao for drinking, but I somehow also got into the chocolate business. What's sort of interesting about that is everybody knows chocolate, right? Like everybody's got, and there's a million dark chocolate bars out there that you can choose from of various types. So when we go to these events where there's a lot of chocolate people, the thing that actually makes us stand out is having something that's drinkable, right? So it's interesting that you have to, and that's kind of our way into people, because everybody's got a Madagascar bar, right? I mean, that's a pretty common place they have a dark chocolate bar from, but nobody's got this. So my point is that you have to, sometimes people don't always know they have a need. And when I say to people, oh, you drinking coffee? And they're like, yeah, I've kind of got too much coffee. I go, great, here's something different. Try this, and you'll either mix it in or just replace it. And it's so much better for you. And I go into all the health benefits. So, Steve Jobs always said, they don't know they have this need, right? Like I'm telling them what their needs are, right? That was kind of his approach. He didn't say it that nicely, but the point is sometimes you have to create the need. You have to create the market for something as well, and let people know, because they just aren't aware that this is even an option. They've never heard about it. Just like Dry January, when you started doing it, nobody knew that you could do that, right? So you had to create that. And by the way, I'm gonna borrow. I loved your sober curious. I think cacao curious could be a good thing.
I love that.
Yeah. So I'm gonna figure that one out.
That's good.
Can I just do curiosity?
Yes.
Sure.
Of course you do.
It's yeah.
Curiosity. Aha. But yeah, so whether you're sober curious, you're cacao curious, or you have curiosity, you want your business to stand out. So you led perfectly into my next question, Matthew, which is, how do you do that? It's one thing if you're an original or you are a pioneer, as Hilary is in Sober Curious Land, and it's another thing when you're tea and cacao. And I think tea especially it's a known quantity for years, but there's nothing like the TeaBook. So
Right.
How do you make your business stand out? Don't all talk at once.
Oh, I thought you were asking Noah.
Oh yeah, no, let's start with you.
Okay, I'll go first. So I think that the first thing is you got to make sure no one else has done it, or that no one else is doing it better. And so, for instance, we chose to put fun characters, like this is our Einstein tea, it's our relativity, because nobody else puts art of historical characters onto packaging. Mostly because art somehow managed to always offend people because they'll see things that aren't there. Second is you have to deal with like right of publicity, public domain. It gets kind of messy. Check for your trademarks. Hey, someone's already done that. I can't do that, right? You don't want to violate something and then have to redo it. And so we wanted to say, well, we're not Tazo, we're not Lipton, we're not just bulk tea. We are art, creativity, and tea, and history. And so that became our passion. And you can collect them. On the back of every food product requires a lot number to identify it for traceability, but the law doesn't say you have to use the word lot number. So we do print number. So we have first print, second print, just like books. And then people collect our first and second print. And then when we make a third print, we retire the second print and sell it for 3 times the price as a silver or gold collection. So we took an industry that never had existed.
It is Pokemon cards.
It is Pokemon versions of tea, yeah. Except Einstein doesn't convert to anything. It'd be awesome. And then you're asked, and then this is an important thing that I think people forget when they do the business is, who is it for? I make tea for my customers. I like him drink tea or make the art myself. I never need to share it with anyone. but I do it for my customers. So we make smart tea. So we try to do people that were smart, that added positivity to the world, that changed things in a way that were significant. Like here's our Salvador Dulce. It's a chocolate one. And it's a Spanish tea because he was Spanish. It's part of our Latinx, because the Spanish brought chocolate to Europe. And then we have little historical things like on the Spanish flag is a lion smoking a pipe with a crown. You can see here it has a little ocelot because he had a pet ocelot smoking a bubble pipe with a crown. So that was from the Spanish flag, but also references his actual life. So those are something that nobody else does, and that gives us a niche.
So find your spin, make sure no one else has done it or has done it as well, and just run with it.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds so easy.
Unless you have scissors in your hands or by a pool.
Yeah, do not run with scissors in your hands.
Well, yeah.
Okay. What about you, Matthew?
Well, I think for this product in particular, because there's a lot of education. In other words, it's like an unknown. It's like a mystery of what it is. People don't even know. They don't even know how to say it. The first thing they say, "Oh, is it hot chocolate?" And and like I would say, well, it could be hot chocolate if you wanted it to be, but it's not. You could turn it into hot chocolate if you put enough milk and sugar in it, and if that's the way you like it, no problem. You enjoy it. But so there's a little bit of explanation. So the best way for us is for people to taste it, to experience it. And the way so we have to pour a lot. We have to just pour it and give people a taste of it, and they're just blown away and like, oh my gosh, this is really amazing. How come I don't know about this? And that kind of thing. And then, it's just, so it's just getting it out there, and having people taste it. And then as far as, are there other products out there? There are other products out there, and we have tried most of them. And there's a lot of I would say not very good products out there. It was kind of it's a wild west. And some of it is, very you say it's under processed, but it just doesn't taste good, right? It just doesn't. It's like burnt. They over roast it, or it's just not well cared for. So we really try to, just like we do with our dark chocolate, we try to preserve the natural flavor of what's in those beans, so you can actually get a taste for it. And then of course, we also have mixes, blends like ceremonial blend or chai blend or mushroom blend, if you want to add in other elements and flavor and so forth. So, but it's really getting people to taste it, to understand, they have alternatives, and then getting them to buy it and then continue to buy it. And it's really fun when we introduce it to somebody and they try it, and then they, make that second order, and they're like, oh my God, this is so great. And they just keep coming back. And that's really exciting, just not as a business, of course, but it's also just exciting to see that, they found something new that they really enjoy, that is better for them. It's replacing something that really wasn't, helpful. And so it's helping them in a bunch of different ways.
Well, I have to tell you, Coach Carrie is loving this because she's always looking for better options without corn and soy. So you might have just made a new fan. And I think the other part of what you're saying is you need to educate and share it, but you also need to have a good product. I mean, if you don't have a good product, what are you doing? Also, we got a request for a new tea flavor for Noah. Mary Kay would like to see goat tea.
Goat tea would be good, but contain no goat.
No goat was...
And no human hair.
Right? In the packaging of our tea.
That's pretty funny. Okay, keep the buns and the drink preferences going, or coming and going. And Hilary, the same question. What for you? How do you make your business stand out?
Yeah, I think, kind of like what everyone's saying, you need to know what else is on the market. I think, first of all, as a journalist, I often hear founders say all the time, like, this product took us 2 years to make and there's nothing else out there. And then I'm sitting there internally thinking to myself, like, actually, I actually know something that is just like this. And I just heard about it 20 seconds ago, and that happens a lot, actually. I think that it's really hard to differentiate yourself. But on that same note, I think it just is really about doing your research and really digging and finding, and also being open to feedback. and listening to other people in the space when they tell you like, hey, this has been done before, or, you know, maybe you should consider, you don't have to take their advice, but I think that you should at least listen and hear them out so that you have a broader perspective of, you know, what else is happening in your category. So yeah, I think, you know, for me, there are obviously a lot of non-alcoholic beverages on the market now. There's non-alcoholic bottle shops. There are other events. I think that with the events that I do, a lot of the times they are, you know, with journalists, with influencers, with people who have like a lot of reach to like maximize potential in terms of, you know, eyeballs and you know, ultimately people trying a new lifestyle or trying a new beverage. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of like finding also like, you know, hotels and bars and restaurants that don't have non-alcoholic beverages on their menus and really talking to them about the benefits of doing so. And yeah, so it's really, sometimes it's a little bit more tedious, than it's not very sexy, but like you just have to like, you know, do some digging, do some research, and be open to hearing what people have to say as well.
One thing you said, which is a huge thing with me, because I work with authors trying to get traditional book deals. And one thing that, and I've said this for decades of working with writers, you need to know what you're working on before you get feedback from others. And that way you can discern what is information you can use and what's just going to take you off of the right path. So
Yes.
That's one thing. And then the other thing is with book comps, which you need to do if you're trying to sell a nonfiction book, you need to see what's out there. And you need to identify what are the holes. You know, look at what books are doing well and what does your book or your potential book do that supports or builds on other things. So I think that's also kind of relevant. See what's out there. You don't need to compete with everybody. I mean, someone who loves tea might not love cacao. Someone who loves cacao might not love tea. Anybody watching this conversation, it's like, are you team tea? Are you team cacao? Or are you team going dry? Maybe some people are all the above, but most likely everybody has their preferences. Yes, Matthew, you do not.
No, I'm all of the above. I was to say I'm all of the above. I love tea. I'm sober and I love cacao, so I qualify.
Excellent.
That's all.
Meryl loves your clever marketing and branding, by the way, and everybody else agrees with them. There you go. So it's and there's the comments are coming so quickly. I cannot possibly read all of them, but thank you for being here and sharing your love of beverages. I mean, honestly, this is getting as much attention as any conversation I would have on actual food, which it really shows the power of what you're all doing. Okay, so Hannah says, ask Matthew to play some delectable, scrumptiously, deliciously, edibly tasty, good, heartfelt sounding guitar for us tonight. Is Kenneth one of your people, Matthew?
No.
Or is he just watching the guitars and saying,
I don't know.
How does that go with tea?
Yeah, my producer's gonna come in here in about 10 minutes. You'd rather have him play than me, but maybe for another show.
Okay. And then Pam says, not enough upvotes, or you have to be open to what people say. You need to know enough about your business, what your niche is. Mine is great. No one else focuses on book proposals. That is all that they do. And none of the people in writer world speak entrepreneur. So I'm like double whammy here. But there is that educational factor, because not a lot of people know that this is how books get sold. So I feel like I'm doing a little of everything each of you are saying. In sort of 52 Secrets for Goal Setting and Goal Getting is all about the premise of the secret to success is there is no one secret, which is why we do these programs. Maybe something will resonate one thing will resonate or several things, but the idea is to take the ideas that work for other people and incorporate them into your life. I want to know what everybody's up to and how they plan to grow their business, because building is one thing, standing out is another. But what is next level for each of you? Do you know what that is, Hilary?
For me, I think it is just continuing to, go to different cities. Right now for events, we've done stuff in New York and LA, and Charleston and Atlanta, Nashville, etc. So I think just continuing on that path and, continuing the momentum, really.
Okay. Yeah, you're riding a wave.
Exactly.
That is part of, the joy when you hit on something that is untapped, that you get to do that. Okay. What about you, Matthew? You're still,
Sure.
I think you're earliest stages of everybody here.
Probably, yeah. This is really, we really soft launched last summer, and then we actually rolled out just really in 2026. So what we're all about is we're definitely about validating the business model, like what Noah talked about is, okay, we can get product, people can buy product, can we make money on it? And also scaling, scaling production. So we're an artisan brand. We do small batches, right? So one of our biggest challenges is doing small batches is you make it and then you sell out, and then if you're making it, it's like a you're making to order almost, and which is not really sustainable for the long term. So we're trying to figure that out now, is the scalability and how to get there where we can have, steady volume as the orders increase. And we're also looking at partnerships with select retailers. We're in some conversations with some high-end retailers in Los Angeles, just very, like, it's never going to be a mass market product, intentionally, but it would be nice to have, just from a prestige basis, to have some key locations where we can get orders. And I think the third big thing is a website where we can offer, a subscription-based product for the cacao, because as people are wanting it and they just want like an auto ship and that kind of thing, that they can just get it automatically. So those are some short and a couple of longer term goals that we have for this year, in terms of and getting more people to taste it. That's always the number one thing.
Awesome. Love it. And Noah?
So for us, like I said, at a different scale, been doing it about 10 years. We have about 150, 200 locations that carry it. What's cool is the variety. Like the National Archives sells our tea. We also protect the Constitution. And then we also have, there's a hotel in LA called Hotel Figueroa, one of our favorite customers, and they put our teas in all their hotel rooms. And so every year we say, let's try a different segment to see if it works for us. The 2 segments this year are libraries, because we tried museums, but museums like to preserve like old things, so they don't like to change their products out very much. Well, libraries are like, let's have fun and do cool things. So that's more of our brand. So we joined the Library Association and try to get more libraries to carry tea or do tea events, and then hotels and hospitality. But I think,
well, plus you have a book.
That's
Your
right.
book could go in the library too. So
the TeaBook could go in the library. It's a
yeah. Where is the TeaBook book?
Yeah, a book with no words.
Just tea.
We always say our teas tell a tale. That's why, because our book does not have any words. And so,
only puns.
Only puns, which is different than OnlyFans. I want to clarify.
Yes, we would never confuse.
Strip words down, but they are not naked. So I just want to clarify.
Anyway, that's where I use everybody's.
We would love to continue to expand our brand so that eventually everyone has our tea in their house. And what's interesting is we talked tying into before about the beginning about like function and solution. The 2 biggest sales in beverage recently were what's the one? Olipop sold for over $1 billion, and they're a functional beverage, right? They make functional claims like this is probiotic, it's good for your gut, things like that. So it's a solution type based. And then the other one was Liquid Death, sold for another over $1 billion. And his was his marketing. He was hanging out at a bar and he doesn't drink, and it looked uncool just having a glass of water. So he's like, I want to have something that looks cool. So I'm at a bar not drinking, I won't seem like I'm lame. And that's how he created Liquid Death and sold for $1 billion. One marketing, one functional. So there's different ways to grow and to appeal. You just have to find that audience.
And going back to, and Pam called this out, it's important to remember that that everyone is not a competitor.
Yeah.
We're all in this together,
Yeah.
like minds, businesses. And again, today, 3 different types of beverages, or one non-beverage and 2. You get the idea. People in 3 different areas of the beverage world talking about your passion for this product, which, and you mentioned this before, a passion alone is not a business, but if you can turn your passion into a business and then use that enthusiasm to grow, that's what we do. Find the problem, create the solution, make sure other people need it, educate them, and sell. Okay, I think I've just distilled the entire conversation into 10 seconds. I would love at this point for you all to gift goals to the audience, and they can be beverage goals, or they can be business goals, or they can be beveragey business goals. I'm going to let Noah go first, since he has played this game before.
Okay. Let's see.
Or maybe I won't. Maybe I have to go to one of our newer guests. Yes, Noah, goal.
One of the funny things that we get when you do events, people always ask me, "What's your favorite tea?" And I'm like, "It's going in your mouth, not mine. It really doesn't matter what my favorite is." And I think as a goal for business and as a goal for your life is put things in your mouth that make you happy. Whatever it is, if it makes you happy and it doesn't harm you, put it in your mouth.
Okay, so basically drinking is the goal.
Drinking should be a goal. And then drinking something that does something for you to either bring joy or fix a problem, right? And so in fact, we have a sticker somewhere, I think it's over there, it says, make food fun again. Because we just enjoyed stuff, right? And it ties into Socrates was the first philosopher who began to ask why. And everyone's like, why are you asking why? Can't we just enjoy life? And then so my goal is enjoy life a little bit, ask a little bit of why, and put good things in your mouth.
I like the make food fun again too.
Yeah.
I think it may come up again in final thought. Who knows? Matthew, what goal do you wish to gift?
Here's the goal that I wish to gift is find something that you can just do with thought and intention. What is the thing that for tomorrow? This is a goal for tomorrow or for this week. What is the thing? Just what do you really want to do? We'll give it. What is the thought? What is the intention behind that goal that is going to either do something positive for you or do something positive for somebody else or even for the world? So what can you contribute and what can you be thoughtful about and give as just a offering or as a gift to yourself or somebody else, whether that be a beverage, whether that be food, whether that be service. Do something you care about and that you mean to do.
Okay, it sounds like you've been hanging out with Noah for an hour. Hilary.
Well, I will say though, Noah, when we looked at the chocolate business and dark chocolate in particular, the reason we ended up calling it Good Karma is that there were all of these serious brands that were like really serious, like red wine kind of serious, about chocolate. And we thought, this is a moment of joy. This is like a gift that you give to yourself. This is something to enjoy. Like, why is it so heavy? Like, it should be just fun. And it should be, something that you can, eat good, do good, feel good. That's our thing. So, yeah.
Noah, check the chat because somebody tagged someone else who does work with the library.
I saw that. I don't know. There's no way for me to respond in the chat, I don't think.
It'll be in LinkedIn.
Oh, in LinkedIn. Okay.
Yeah, I'll make sure so check the LinkedIn thread. But this is the
anytime
New
someone
Jersey
wants to have a
Library.
party and have tea and books and libraries, let us know. We even have little coloring sheets. In fact, I'll share one. Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Let me see if I find one.
Don't be a tease. Drink more teas. Do you say that?
You could do that.
Oh, he's got to have a tea for that. Yeah.
So this one was.
Do you have any teasing tea?
We were thought about making a series called Strip Teas because we're at an event, at a trade show, and then approaches us and she's like, "I have a distributor for 1,800 stores. Will you make a product line for our tea, for our stores. So I said, what kind of stores are they? She goes, they're all sex shops. So she wanted us to make a sex line of tea. So strip teas was our first thought. But this is a coloring sheet made because you said I could be somewhat political. This is our impeachment tea coloring sheet. And this is what our tea bag looks like. So you could have a lot of fun. You color it in because when you color and you drink tea, life is just okay. There's no worries anymore.
Tea solves the world's problems. Okay.
Yeah.
And Hilary, what goal do you want to gift?
I think, it's important to obviously like do first person research, and I would say like try, if you're looking to enter the non-alcoholic beverage industry, definitely try as many as you can, but at least try once a week, like a new SKU or a new brand, or connect with somebody in the industry who is either a founder of a bottle shop or a founder of a beverage company, or the people who are consuming these products too, because that is ultimately who you are going to be selling to. So I think it's just really important to knock off one or two of those things every week. And I think there's definitely an ability to grow from all of those things.
Okay, and I made it super general because you could totally do this for whatever business you're exploring. Is try new products once a week, do your research, connect with people in the industry, because again, it's not about competing with each other, it's about uplifting each other and making everybody succeed, right? Forcing everybody, let's do this thing. This has been so much fun. Where can people learn more about each of you? Noah?
You can go to the TeaBook.com, or you can invite me over to your house and we can have some tea and chat.
Excellent. And Matthew, where can people learn more about you?
Well, you can go to our website, goodkarmacacao.com. You can follow us on Instagram at goodkarma.chocolate. And just stalk me and I'll talk to you about cacao for hours.
And he will. And Hilary, where can people learn more about you?
You can follow me on Instagram. My handle is Hilary with one L, Hilary Writes NY. Or you can go to the website goingdry.co.
Excellent. And I am at
if you're ever in LA, Hilary, we should do a sobriety tea party.
Yes, 100%.
You should totally do that.
My brothers are in LA. I'll probably be there this summer, so we'll connect.
Let's do it.
Oh, I want an invite.
Absolutely.
Right?
Okay, this is what happens on GoalChat. Nothing makes me happier than when I see guests who were on the show together do other things together. But yes, please, I want to come play too. Thank you all so much for joining today. Oh, rewind. I am at the Deb Method everywhere. And if you go to thedebmethod.com/blog, you can get the recaps and you can watch the replays and get the recaps, including the goals for each episode. And if you want to learn more about the work that I do, you can learn more at thebookproposalexpert.com. And if you need some help with your goals, you can grab your goal guide and or 52 secrets for goal setting and goal getting at your favorite place to buy books. I am live every Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific. And you can also subscribe to GoalChat and also Taste Buds with Deb on your favorite place to get your podcast. Deep breath. What final thought, friends, do you want to leave everybody with today? Hilary?
I was going to say, just do a dry month. Just try it. You've got nothing to lose. And I hope you take away as much as I did. But if you learn anything about yourself, I think it's a win.
Excellent. And Matthew?
Try cacao, get cacao curious, and give it a shot. Try it. Mix it in with a little of Noah's tea. Be good too. And, give yourself some choices in the morning. Not just about one thing.
Get cacao curious. That's going to be on a t-shirt by the end of the week, right?
Yeah.
I've already got it on a
trademark
tote bag, so yeah.
Excellent. Okay, on a t-shirt. Okay, Noah, final thought.
Mine would be there's no real wrong way to drink tea except throwing it into the ocean. It's not a good use of tea. And the same with your life and your business. Is don't let anyone tell you there's a wrong way to do it, as long as you're not hurting yourself or somebody else.
Ooh, we ended with inspiration. I like it. Well, I like to think these are all, there's no tea in there. I like to think that these are for purposes of it's community, inspiration. If you take a piece or a chunk of info from today and it makes your life better, then we've done what we came here to do. Thank you all so much. Noah,
Thank
Matthew,
you.
Hilary, thank you for those watching live and the replay, listening to us. Again, join me every week live, 4 p.m. Pacific. Your life, your goals, your beverages, your businesses, whatever it is you choose to do, go on out there, go for it, because we know you can do it. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.